So we're going to ask Mark here from Rugby to give a different kind of view, I think, about the leadership.
Yeah. Good evening all. Thank you for coming. So you may not know that I didn't support Henry from the start. The reason I didn't support him, I thought he came in too late. I didn't think he could win it. Through the campaign, who I was supporting, John Rhys Evans, I had serious doubts about, and it was quite clear that Henry was becoming the front runner, despite whatever people thought. And he had the right idea. He was the only one out of the candidates that were pushing for Brexit, and he wanted change at the top of the party. He was elected on them things with his CV, and nothing's changed from that. He's still the same person that we elected as leader. Yes, there may have been some things that's happened in his personal life, but let's be honest, we've all had things happen in our personal life. And if we're going to start condemning someone for that, then, you know, I'm ashamed that we would actually do that, to be honest with you. Things that have happened within the party, certain people that have been attacking Henry and his now ex-partner Joe, and contacting people that he's worked with, his current wife, but obviously separated. It's absolutely disgusting. It's the behaviour of momentum, or hope not hate. Is that what we're coming as a party? Because if it is, I don't want any part of it. Yeah, we should stick together. UKIP is strongest when we work together, when we're out there on the grassroots, when we're fighting the corruption. Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of corruption within our party, and it would seem to come from Tory infiltrators. There's certain people that within the NEC and above the NEC that have been pulling the strings for far too long, and that is the change that Henry wanted to bring, along with our policies, our manifesto, because our policies are not up to date. They're very poorly worded. They're open to so many errors and abuse within them. And this is all things that Henry wanted to change and started to do that. Certain people within the party were isolated. So I ask you, what has Henry done so wrong, apart from have some issues in his personal life which could happen to absolutely any one of us?
He's doing his members racists and Nazis.
It's not called members racist.
No, he called them
That was a...
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. If you please ask your question, but at the end, if that's okay. Thank you.
He is the person that we elected, and the behaviour of the NEC has been absolutely terrible. Even if they had a question about his leadership, which I don't think there's any justification for it, they should have acted on behaviour of people within the party that have been selling stories to the press, that have been bribing people to give information. It is absolutely disgusting. Why has the NEC not taken action on them people before anyone else? An internal party movement, which is not even authorised by the party, Indigo, has been very much behind that, and a campaign of hate against Henry, and it is absolutely disgusting. If you want change within this party, we have to keep Henry as our leader, and he will fight this corruption. And within 3 months, the whole, and I do mean the whole of the NEC, will have to stand down. And we can push forward with a body which is going to absolutely represent the party, the members, and hopefully, and I say hopefully, we might see the return of Nigel at a more active role. Thank you.
Right. Thank you, that was a really good answer. This gentleman here has got a question.
I've been speaking to several...
Can you hear at the back, yeah?
Sorry. I've been speaking to several people who've been involved, like MEPs, local representatives, and nearly all of them say that they get promised, remember, we're talking about the leader here at the moment and the EGM coming up. I run a business. If people need to get answers, they ask me a question, they expect an answer. The complaint I've heard repeatedly is that our leader does not answer calls, does not reply to emails. He makes promises that he'll sort something out next week. It doesn't happen. Would the people on the panel confirm that is the case? Because if he cannot do this type of work, how can people be expected to do their jobs?
I've also heard, thank you very much. I've also heard that as well, and I think probably it's best to get two answers. Maybe I think Mark certainly would be one, and you the other one then, if that's okay, Gareth. Yeah, that would be fine, because I think there'll be different viewpoints on the panel, but just briefly.
It's directly a direct question to do with what we're here for.
Yeah, of course.
Right, yeah, no, I totally agree. People do need to have answers, people need to know what our structure is and where we're going. And since Henry was elected, he's been around the country, he's met the members, he's visited in excess of 20 branches, he's had in excess of 30 media appearances, all pushing the message. He's also had the first ever cabinet meeting of the spokespeople. Now, them spokespeople were tasked with certain tasks to build their own policy areas and to feed that back into the group. There's only one department from that which has been successful, and that was the political advisor, David Allen. No one else has come back with ideas with regards to their policies. With regards to Henry, Henry picks up the phone to me, Henry picks up the phone to many people. I dare say there's certain people within the party that Henry may not be so keen to speak to, especially after recent attacks. And bearing in mind, he's had these attacks since he became a leader. Kipper Central, through the deputy editor, has been used as a campaign of hate against Henry since he's been elected. And these articles have gone on every single day. Henry does communicate with people. He's been out in Rochester, we were out in Canterbury yesterday for the launch of his policy ideas, and if you want Henry somewhere, he will be there. Hence why he's trying to build bridges with Fountain.
Can I come back on that?
Well, the question was really about lack of leadership in the party, and I think probably I've got to ask you, Mark, because you're the one who's supporting the leader the most.
Yeah. Again, you've got to look at what's happened since the referendum. Firstly, Henry was not a leader then, so obviously he's clearly not to blame. And since then we've had several leaders, as you know. Now they can't also be blamed for the problems within the party. There's only one body and certain people that lord above it that have been responsible for holding the party back and made sure that we are not on the battlefield. And that is the simple truth of it. Henry's tried to bring policies forward. He's asked spokespeople to fulfil duties, start bringing policies. He wanted the NEC to be more representative of the members, which is why he wants regional chairmen as the NEC members. And this is what Henry's trying to do, but he's been hampered at every turn.
If you don't mind, very, very briefly.
Right, okay. Firstly, I would say that I don't agree with all of the things that Jo said, but I can assure you, and her ex-boyfriend has verified this, that a lot of the things that were actually said have been edited.
No, they weren't.
Yes, they have.
No, they weren't.
But going back to what Pat said about the NEC and the directors, and you're absolutely right. So they should be directors of UKIP as a company. Now, do you know there's actually several entities registered as UKIP on Companies House, of which one, only all of the NEC are directors. There's UKIP Trading, which is the main body that deals with money from conferences and merchandise that we sell, which we can't sell any merchandise, by the way, because of the new logo that was appointed at the conference to shaft the leadership, so we don't have any money coming into the party. So how many of the NEC members do you think is a director of that group, of that company? One, John Bickley. How is that possible? There's also one which is UKIP Parliamentary Resource. Would you like to know who's the existing directors on that? Alan Bown, Carswell and Mark Reckless, and they're still registered as directors of UKIP Parliamentary.
Thanks.
Right, yeah, I will try. Right, firstly, if we have David Curtin, we will lose all of LBGT, because he's still not apologised to them for comments that he made, and that is the reason why he was not deputy leader as promised. I even spoke to him about the conference and he refused to do it. Gerard Batten, I spoke to him in Bolton at the conference and asked him why wouldn't he do the leadership, and he said he wasn't interested in it. So why is he suddenly interested now when he's been asked by several members of the NEC to do it? And he's saying that he's going to bring the reform that certain people at the top of the party don't want. Think about it, people. Henry Bolton. Thank you. I would disagree with you. There's a massive branch support for Henry, and in fact the decision to call a vote of no confidence was on the basis of 2,000 emails that the NEC members received. 90% opposed Henry, 10% was in support. That also means that 20,000 members were not bothered about the current situation enough to call for a vote of no confidence in Henry. He's been out campaigning in Rochester. He was due to release the media and campaign structure in January when this attack came from internal members, and that would have rocketed us into the May elections. The team has been working tirelessly on this since Henry was elected, and I can assure you of that. And it is people within the party that have done the damage that have brought it to where it is now. His personal life would have been nothing more than a storm in a teacup if people had not brought it into the public eye.
The only media.
That was actually staged. The members on the committee, certainly of Samwell, had already signed over to For Britain, and actually members of the branch are disgusted with the behaviour of the committee, and the support against what they done at the Birmingham meeting was very good in favour of Henry.
Right, well, I'm going to say something I rarely say, but Mark's actually said something there with the German truth. What actually happened is that the branch in Sandwell were very much of the Amory Waters persuasion, many of the top ones, and they voted for Lisa Duffy before that, so it was a continuous vein of that kind of thought. They were extremely offended by the comments about Henry had made about the Nazi Party, and then when Henry became the leader, they continued to be unhappy, and they were unhappy with the whole structure. It's not just Henry, by the way, it's not about Henry, that one, but they were dissatisfied and they walked out. It was a pre-planned thing, but there are members across the West Midlands now who are just leaving because they see no leadership. And this talk about West Midlands being strongly for Henry, I'm from the West Midlands, you might have noticed.
And you've got very poor support there.
And I can tell you something, despite the ravings of this madman, we are very strongly against him.
Support you've got.
Okay, well, I'd like to say thank you to all of you for coming tonight. It's more people.